Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I always like to introduce the team that God has provided me, starting with my faithful assistant, Faith, who is the person behind the scenes that does everything so that I can just speak, because if you make me multitask when I'm speaking, I get very distracted and I lose my place. So it's very handy to have someone who can just operate as my brain during all of this. Faith has been my assistant basically since the day she was born. She came to church at 3 weeks old, and her dad had her in one hand and worked the soundboard in the other hand. And then as soon as she was able to crawl, she crawled right up on stage and just kind of hung out there with me like she belonged there. I had a portable mic, so it was easy to step over and stuff. And then we would put her on the podium to do the announcements, and I think everybody paid more attention because this cute little chubby baby face sitting up there. And as she grew up, she and her sister started doing some usher duties, like handing out the affirmation cards we used to do every Sunday. I don't miss doing that, the prep of all those affirmation cards, I must say, because our Saturdays, it took us 4 to 6 hours to put those affirmation cards together, get them, printed, and what do you call it when they put the plastic over them, and then cut them, and then all of that. So I don't miss that at all. But anyway, she grew up about 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver, and he used to do these out-of-town tows, and he would drop the girls at my house, and we'd do projects together because that's what I do. And so I got a chance to see her work. And so when I opened my ozone business, at that moment, she was 14 and a half, said she wanted a real job. And so I hired her for that. And here we are. The ozone business is still going. She's no longer my assistant there, but she's been the best assistant I've had in that business for sure. And then we went live for the pandemic in 2020. And I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, absolutely. So now 5 years later, we're still doing this. I always thought we'd get back into a facility, but I think not. I think it's perfect that we do it this way. I don't know. But anyway, in The Wizard of Oz, you pull back the curtain and there's this old man back there. Here, when you pull back the curtain, there's Faith. So she answers as me most of the time about everything. And so if you would please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us, she will answer you as me. And I've only had to go back like twice in 5 years to add something. So, she knows my brain better than I know my own brain. But anyway, we like it that you say hi, hello, good morning if you're here. And later on, if you stop by, please say hello. In a facility, I can look out and see the faces shining back at me. Here, I get a number. I don't even get names, so I don't know who's in attendance. So I'd appreciate it if you would just do that for us. And Faith is also our soloist, and today she's going to do My Religion is Kindness by Karen Drucker. It's one of my favorite songs of Karen Drucker's. I like the beat of it, but I also like the words, so it's really a good song. So thank you so much for being here, Faith. All right. And then there's my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who's been with me since 1998. Quite a while. He took his first, all of his practitioner training with me. He was my first baby practitioner. And he was my board president for many years, and then he moved away to Florida, and we lost the ability to have him in our service. So when we went live for the pandemic, I asked him if he would be willing to be our practitioner of the day, and he was willing. I don't think he thought he was still going to be doing that 5 years later, but here we are. And he is the practitioner of the day, which means he does the invocation, the benediction, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk more about that later, but it's so good to have you. Thank you. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about I am more than my body, because Easter has the theme of life, death, and rebirth, the cycle of all of that. And so I thought I'd follow up Easter with that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I also like to introduce our adjunct music team that we have. First is Reverend Fairy Lane Silver, who doesn't appear on camera, but was the first to ask us to do music, her music in our service. The second is Karen Drucker, who gifted us with her entire collection of CDs at that time when we first started. And that was like 20 CDs at that time. But we have the songs, the karaoke files, the songbooks, everything we need to be able to offer music as part of our service. So I really appreciate the two of them. And then we have Albertina Giuffre, who may or may not be joining us for Mother's Day. I still haven't gotten an answer from her. She was our singer since 2000 and stopped to get her house ready to be sold, and I think is enjoying her retirement. So I've asked her, she usually comes for what she calls the crying season, which is Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Memorial Day. And I asked her if she wanted to do it, and she said, I have to see what my class schedule looks like. I was like, okay. So hopefully she'll be here with us for Mother's Day. And her name, we call her Tina, but her name is Albertina Giuffre. All right. There is a watch party button that you can click on and invite all your friends so they can see what kind of Sunday service they can expect. And you can talk amongst yourselves because it's more of a private chat and answer any questions that they might have. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. And I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
You're muted, darling.
There we go. The presence of God is always right here, right now. For God, as we conceive of it, is truly omnipotent, universal, eternal, and therefore must be in all places at all times, including right here, right now, where you are, where I am, and whenever you are watching this. God is right there, with no less presence than all of it being there, all of there at once. And we are but pieces within that. We are floating in a sea of God. And all levels of existence, from the atomic to the subatomic to the galactic, all encompassed in that one greater being that manifests itself in and through and as all things and all possibilities, all probabilities, all things there are. And we know that that presence is intimate and immanent and transcendent beyond all conceptualizations. We know that the blessings that flow from it are perfect, and they flow through each and every moment, right here, right now. I know this is good and very good, and I allow it to manifest, and it is very good. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. All right. This next song, let me just do this again. If you're joining right now, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to greet us. In the facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. And here I get a number. I don't even get a name or anything. So we appreciate it if you do that. If you like something you hear, whether that's something I say, Faith sings, or Oz prays, use the like button. If you love something, send us hearts. We love to get love. And if something strikes you as powerful or on target, please use that wow button. It lets me know where I'm at in the message. And so I appreciate that feedback. So this next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote when she was in practitioner training. And it's a great reminder of how connected we all are.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. I love that idea that we can sing a song like that and it just brings us back to our center, which is who we are, all connected to all of life. All right. So without further ado, here is Faith singing My Religion is Kindness by Karen Drucker.
My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Everyone has a story, everyone has pain. When we stand away our past, we find that we really are the same. But it's a good thing to say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile of connection, a simple love and touch. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my path is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through? Gonna let my heart be my guide to give the best of me. Gonna share my joy, share my love, give it around, let's sing. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Then Jack fell down and broke his spout, and Jill came running after. Said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help you ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind, and I know I will be fine. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling. He lives deep inside. Job is be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. I practice it every day. Religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. Job is be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and I'm gonna practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and I'm gonna practice it every day.
Thank you for doing my favorite song. That was beautiful. I picked that song in particular because I think we forget sometimes with religion that it's so important for us to be kind of nature. You know, someone asked me the other day if we were Christian, and I said, well, if you ask a Christian if we're Christian, probably not, because we don't believe that Jesus died for our sins. But if you ask anyone else, they would say yes, because we do follow the teachings of Jesus. Because we see Jesus as not the great exception, but the great example. And what he was trying to convey to us was the principle that God is within us and that we too can do the things that he did. And so when we talk about religion being kindness, it opens the heart to what we're saying here, pretty much. When religion gets dragged into dogma, sometimes it's hard to forget. And while I'm at it, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of the Pope. He was one of the ones that came and spoke out the most about what is authentically true. And we've never had a pope that was willing to do that, to put himself on the line like that. So I definitely want to acknowledge his passing. Even life and death are a cycle. And in the Native American traditions, they celebrate the miracle of the seasons as snows of winter, when all of life sleeps, and the herald of spring, when all of life awakens, and the fullness of summer, when life is revealed in all its splendor, and the autumn, when the voice of nature is hushed and preparation is made for sleep. And they say that same cycle repeats itself in the human life. For in the spring, in the awakening consciousness, or the birth of the newborn baby, in the summer, our powers rise to their highest. And then in the autumn, when life begins to wane, and in winter, when sleep comes to the weary, tired soul. After winter of physical life, spring comes into spirit, as if it awakens in another world to continue the eternal cycle. Oops. Sorry. There we go. We in religious science don't believe in death of the person, of the soul. We believe that the body is a coat, like an outfit that we take off. And, even in our memorials, we will say, it's as if I put my suit over there in the corner. And, we wouldn't worry about, well, where is she gone? We just would say, oh, she's gone on a trip. And I think that that's really, in a nutshell, basically what we teach, because it's not that our soul dies. It's that our soul transforms into another form, What form that is, we don't really know. What I do know is that we are able to communicate with people who have gone on. And because of that, I know that we continue on. I just don't know how we continue on. We don't believe in a heaven or a hell. We believe that that's a state of consciousness here on this earth. Like you can be in heaven as long as you're living from your authentic self and allowing God to be present in your life. You can be in hell when you hate and hold things against people and don't forgive them. And so I had this conversation with someone I went to high school with who ended up in prison. It was like the 10-year high school reunion, I think it was. And we were sitting there talking. He's like, well, what do you mean hell is here on earth? And I said, you just got out of prison. Can you tell me that anyone in that prison wasn't going through hell? There was no sign of heaven there. And as we talked, he finally understood what I meant. And so we celebrate that the soul continues on, and we don't really need to know how it continues on or what it becomes. We just know that it does continue on. And so I love our memorials because I love that we tell people that even though the body has gone, the soul continues on. And so they're in our hearts and in our minds and in the air we breathe, so that we have that comfort of knowing they've never left us. So many times, we feel this, like we've been cast aside or something when someone dies, like they didn't care enough about us to stick around. My dad died when I was 2.5, and he brought it on himself. We were just talking about that in the meeting. He parked in a parking space, and he had gotten this new office. He was an optometrist. He had gotten this new office downtown, and he parked in this parking space of a restaurant next door. And the next day, or then when he came out that night, there was a note on his car that said, "Don't park in this spot again or I'll kill you." And so my dad, the little trudge that he was, went and got there early the next morning and parked in that exact same spot, just as to the guy. And at lunchtime, the guy came in with a sawed-off shotgun and killed him in the restaurant. And so I know that he didn't consciously want to leave me. I know that his soul contract was obviously up, because I don't believe that anything happens for no reason. But I had to deal with some of the abandonment issues that I had around that, because I felt like if he really cared about me, he'd stay, right? But the truth is that we make a contract for whatever purpose on this earth, and when that contract is up, we go. And it doesn't have anything to do with those that we leave behind. So I've had to wrestle with all of that. But I do know that he's around me. I know that so much of him is in my spirit. Just a stupid little thing, but my dad used to like to separate out all of his food. So as a kid, when I was growing up, I couldn't stand for my food to touch. So they used to tease me about me needing one of those baby plates where it's all like sectioned out. Even as an adult, my sister actually bought me one, but that's neither here nor there. But so I carry on the energy that is my father within me. And I like that that's what we teach about death. I also like that we celebrate, it's not rebirth in like resurrection, but rebirth in that life grows and recedes and then grows again and then recedes. Much like the garden, when you look at planting flowers or whatever, in the process of the seasons, those flowers disappear and go back underground, right? And even our teaching symbol talks about that. All forms come from the conscious mind through the subjective mind into form, and then return back to the nothingness from which it came. Excuse me. And I like that we teach it that way because, I mean, when my dad died, for example, we were sitting Shiva, which is the grieving form that Jewish people do. The rabbis and holy men come and sit with you for 10 days. But as you walk in the house, you wash your hands and then you eat a hard-boiled egg because that signals the rebirth. And, you know, that's all very nice. The symbolism of that is all very nice. But for me, it was very comforting when I started studying religious science. It was very comforting for me to know that we don't just disappear, that there isn't like some people, when they talk about the ascension, they talk about it as if everybody's going to leave the planet except for those chosen ones, you know, who've lived their lives rightly, or however you want to say it. And they just disappear. And I really like the idea that we celebrate that there's a rebirth into some form, whatever that form is. Like I said, we don't need to know. So from nature, I take this message, and I'm assured that the laws, which have never failed and continue to operate in the case of every human life, never fail. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said, "Man is birthless, deathless, ageless spirit, and this should be the consciousness of our work. This leaves nothing to be born, to mature, to decay and die. Life cannot grow. Only God in us and through us, as us, can express according to its own nature, which is perfection." So one of the basic tenets of our philosophy is that everything is made of the same stuff, the same God stuff. We can even take that back to quantum physics and find our proof that everything in the universe is made of the same stuff. That how the molecules bump up against each other and the rate at which they do determines the solidity of all of that. So if it bumps really fast, you're going to have a solid form like this desk. And if it bumps up against each other very slow, you would get liquid like water, for example. Or even possibly, you know, if it's really slow, you're going to get air. And we're somewhere in between all of that, but we are all made of the same stuff. Everything in the universe is made of the same stuff. I happen to call that God stuff. I know the quantum physicists don't. They just say there's an intelligence in the universe that knows how to create from the molecules. And I say that's because it's a divine intelligence that knows how to create, period. Right? And so it uses its own stuff to create us. That being said, there's nothing that can ever die, right? God could never die. And so if we're made of God, and God is what's in us and through us and around us, then we can never actually die. The physical body wears out. And, you know, I always like that part of our memorials that says that, you know, they're no longer trapped in a body that doesn't serve them. I can remember very clearly when Lynn died. You know, his body, he made a conscious choice to leave. I will say that. But his body was no longer functioning in a way that he felt comfortable in it. You know, everything was painful. Everything was horrible. And so why wouldn't he want to leave, right? But I know that he's free from a body that no longer served him. And that's what brings me great comfort. Whether or not he's around me all the time, I don't know. I don't get messages. Like Faith sometimes gets messages. I don't get messages. I just get a feeling. And I have that comforting feeling of souls around me. And I don't know who they are, you know. I know my mom's probably around me. I'm very sure my sister's around me. I'm pretty sure Lynn is. Although he may have been like, hey, I'm leaving. I like this other world I get to investigate and play in. So because he had so much limitation, first from, you know, his lungs were damaged by pneumonia. So first he had that problem, and then he got the lung transplant, and we thought we'd be able to go travel, and we thought we'd be able to do all these things, but no, it was all doctor's appointments and clinic visits and Then he broke his hip and he ended up in a rehab center, and they didn't take care of him properly. So he got bed sores, and then it was on and on and on and on. And so what brings me comfort is that I know that he's no longer suffering, and he might be traveling for all I know. But I do feel the souls around me, especially the dogs. I notice there are times when my dogs will stare up in the kitchen at nothing. And I look and there's not even bugs or anything. They're just sitting there staring up at the ceiling. And I really feel like one of my past dogs has come to visit because why else would they be doing that? And then there's the idea that some of them have training that I never gave them that I gave my other dogs, the Malamutes in particular, because you have to be really strict with Malamutes. They just have way too much, not energy. No, nobody has energy like Duchess. She's a Belgian Malinois, and they have, oh my God, energy. But they were curious, and they were, they could get into trouble very easily because of their curiosity, and they were very, very smart. So they would get themselves into trouble. Like I had one Malamute who would try to get away from Muffy, who was a golden retriever, Cocker Spaniel mix. And she was annoying to him. And so he would try to get away from her. So he would go in the bathroom and jump on the door to close it, and then couldn't figure out how to get out of it. Stuff like that. And so all of a sudden I have dogs in my life that are doing behaviors that I never taught them. And they were things that I taught the Malamutes. And so what I'm recognizing is that somebody's coaching them from the other side. Dr. Fred Vogt, one of my mentor ministers, used to say that 11:11 was the magic hour. Happens twice a day. And it was, what he said was, it was when the two worlds merge into one, so that there's no veil between us, and that you can really feel the presence of someone that's gone on. And so I celebrate 11:11 every time I see it, with all the lists. Now it's a big list, but I always say hi to them. And sometimes I ask them for things. But I do know that they're there. I just don't know. I can't touch them. I can't see them. I can't feel them. I don't hear anything. I just know, I have a knowingness that they're there. And so as I say that, I realize that we don't always have to have some human sense that allows us to just know that they're there. We can just be in the knowingness of it, because God is all intelligence, right? And so we're tapping in. I like to think of it like a filing cabinet, that, you know, all of the information I would ever need to know is there. All I have to do is open the drawer and get what I need. Like when we used to prepare for tests in the School of Ministry, that was our prayer, was, you know, that we have access to everything we ever needed to know to take this test. And so we just pull open the filing cabinet, and there's the information that we need. And so that's what I think of life, death, and rebirth. I think that, you know, life is given to us by God, through God, as God, and we are made of God. So our continuance of life is a soul continuance. Who would ever want their body to last forever? You know, let's put it this way, if the fifth dimension stuff is correct, I won't mind living forever, because supposedly our bodies will be healed of whatever, you know. But from where I stand right now, as my body starts to deteriorate, I think of, you know, forever as like, oh God, what else would happen, you know? And so I think of life as the soul life, the spirit life, not the physical body life. And that's what gives me great comfort when I think about the dying process, because I know that I will continue on. And I know whatever I transform into will have a sense of what's going on in the world without all the attachments of judgment and fear and all of that. Not that I'm like getting ready to die or anything. Not like I'm saying, hey, I want to die. I'm just saying, like, it gives me comfort to know then it's not a permanent, never going to see, never going to hear, never going to be again. So death in religious science is really just acknowledging that the body gives out at some point, and it limits us to what we can do. Like, for instance, if I want to travel somewhere, I have to get on a plane or a bus or go in a car somewhere, right? My interpretation of what's happening with Lynn is that he's just flying all over the place. He just has to think, I want to be in Hawaii, and he's there. For those of you who don't know, that's where his family is from. And traveling to Hawaii was not something we could do very frequently for the money and for the time. Because of the time change, you don't want to go there just for a day or two. We used to go for 3 weeks. Because by the time you get there, with the time change, you have to reprogram yourself on what, when you get up and when you go to bed. Otherwise, you're not in sync with what everybody else is doing. And it takes a few days to get into that rhythm. And then when you come back, you have the same problem. And it takes a few days to adjust. So you don't just go there for a couple of days. Well, if you're spirit without form, you just think, I want to be in Hawaii, and you're there, right? You can still enjoy all of the things that you enjoyed when you were in your physical body, but you don't have the limitations of needing to fly or take a bus or drive, right? Or in this case, in Hawaii, a lot of times, well, one time we took a cruise, but it was to visit all the islands. We didn't get there by a cruise, but you could potentially do that. And so that's how we think of life and death. And then the rebirth aspect of it is that we birth into a new form. We don't know what that form is, and that's probably good. But it's knowing that we do transmute, we do transform into another form, another shape, I don't know what I believe about in reincarnation. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm having a bad allergy attack the last couple of days. So, what was I saying? Oh, we don't know what form we transmute into. So, the thing about that is that I do know that because we continue on, there is some kind of form that we have. Reincarnation, that's what I was saying. See how easily I get distracted? Dr. Ernest Holmes said he didn't believe in reincarnation because he believed in a consciousness that forever spiraled upwards into greater and greater expressions. And with reincarnation, he couldn't face the idea that we would reincarnate here on earth and forget everything that we had learned. To him, that didn't seem possible because of that evolution of consciousness he talked about. And so I tend to agree with him in that respect, although I've had some past life experiences. So I don't know what I exactly believe about all of that. But what I do know is that we are rebirthed in some way. And in that rebirth, I think that we continue on and we have access to all of the information. I think that they see us. I think that they hear us. I think that they are aware of our daily activities. I think that they know all of that. And so when I say hello to them and ask them for help, I know that they see my struggles. And when I ask them for help, I think they do help me. I think they're like our guides, so to speak. And so that in a nutshell is what we teach about life, death, and rebirth. As I said, we went through Passover and then Easter. And so I thought this was a good way to incorporate what religious science teaches with all of that. Because, in Passover, The rebirth took 40 years because we had to go around in the desert until our consciousness had evolved enough that we could be in the land of milk and honey. With Easter, we talk about the rebirth as the resurrection, where Jesus, left the planet and then came back in the same body, in the same, situation. And so neither one of those two things are things that in religious science we talk about. We do when, Easter's here, we want to give somebody an Easter message. When Passover's here, we want to give them a Passover message. But today I want to give us our philosophy's message. And so that's what I've been talking about, is that unbroken circle. And we celebrate that unbroken circle with a knowingness that God is what we're made of, that it flows in and through and around us, and that any rebirth into another form is just another celebration of that same cycle of life and death. Let's have a prayer. Right now, I turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God, to that place within us that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God really is, how intelligent, how mindful, how loving, how beautiful. And that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life. I know that same truth to be so for the entire team, for Faith and for Karen and for Elaine and for Oz and for Tina. For we are blessed with an infinite amount of guidance and love and power that flows through us effortlessly. I know that same truth to be so for anyone who is hearing this message, whether that be in real time or later on, for we are all connected by it, through it, as it. It is in that knowingness that I claim that beauty, that awareness, that love, that connection with each one of us. Mitakuye and all my brethren, we are related. And so I bless this week with an awareness of our place in the universe, of that cycle of life and rebirth, of that cycle of the knowingness that what we are made of is God, and that continues on endlessly, that there is no so-called death, only a shedding of the clothes that we have been wearing, that there is comfort to be found in the knowingness that we will continue on, and that our loved ones will still be connected to us, and we will still be connected to them. I celebrate this awareness for all of us this coming week, as I do for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today. Because I do know that whatever condition that you're experiencing, God is the answer. There is no place where God is not. And even in our challenges, God is present. I pull back the veil and reveal God in the situation, here and now. I claim that good for them in their name. I know it is good and very good. And that revelation moves them forward into a blessed experience of God. So I give thanks for this truth, to know that it is so, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Whew.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Oh, sorry. Now is our time, our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express the gratitude you feel in your heart for that which you have already received in the physical realm, or perhaps for what you have created in the mind of God, but may not have necessarily experienced in the physical realm yet. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page is an offering affirmation to bless the money you are contributing. And then right underneath that is a contribute now button. So I just want to briefly talk about contributing and what it means. When we're in a facility, there's rent, there's utilities, there's my salary, there's all these things. And here we pay Faith because, she works hard. And the only other expense that we have is marketing to the entire world. We have people that are joining us from Philippines later on, obviously, from the Philippines, India, Bangladesh, Germany, UK, Holland. I'm forgetting one. I can't remember now. But we want to make sure it's the whole world. And the reason for that is our vision is a healed world. And our mission to get there is by healing the world one person at a time. Well, you can't heal the whole world if you're not broadcasting to the whole world, right? I mean, I guess, yes, you could probably. I mean, if I take what someone talked about today and I give it that same message, to 10 other people, and they give it to 10 other people, yes. But I think that sometimes things get lost in the transmission. So the best way to do that is to be able to broadcast to the entire world. And the way we do that is by paying for marketing. And so we have two expenses, faith and marketing. That's pretty much it. This software. Yeah, we have to pay for the software. That's true. But knowing that, when we ask for your contributions, what we're saying is, please help us with these expenses so we can continue on and do and complete our vision through our mission. So right now, whether that's in real time or later on, please go with me now to www.oasiscsl.org and say our offering affirmation with me, please. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. All right. Hit that contribute now button and help us get to our vision through our mission. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our church in 3 different ways. The first way is that they pray every day for a week on any prayer requests that we get. So if you would like prayer for something, put it in the comments section, and Faith will make sure our God Squad gets it. We call our licensed practitioners the God Squad because I had a vision of this like in 1998 of practitioners marching in and taking charge. So they've been the God Squad since 1998. Anyway, if you want prayer for something, put it in the comments section. Faith will make sure they get the prayer request. If you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith and she will take care of it and make sure that the God Squad gets it as well. And a second way that the practitioners, the licensed practitioners, serve our church is by providing spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. Now, I don't get involved with how to pay for it. You would message them and say, you know, I would like a session for spiritual guidance, and they will tell you how to pay for it. Some of them use Wise, some use PayPal, some use Cash App, some use Venmo, some use Zelle. I don't get involved with that. They have their own business. They'll let you know how to pay for it. At this point, that's only Oz, but but he'll let you know how to pay for it, and then he will reach out to you by video chat at the appointed time. And the third way is what Oz does every week. I know he didn't plan on doing it for 5 years solid, but here we are. And that is being practitioner of the day, which means he does the invocation at the beginning, the benediction at the end, and after the service, he's available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It is not a time for counseling, but it is a time for you to share what you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. So take advantage of this loving service our practitioners provide, because I love utilizing practitioners. So it's so much easier for them to see the spiritual truth for my situation than it is for me to see it when I'm caught in the middle of it. And I know that's true for everyone else. And they will help you. They will see the truth for you until you can see it for yourself. So definitely take advantage of this loving service they provide. All right. Brooks and Bailey. This is a couple of ladies that make jewelry, and they don't just make mala beads, although that's what I focus my attention on mostly. They have bracelets. They gave me one 5 years ago, and it has a little circle with a bar that goes through. It's only slipped off my wrist twice in 5 years. And trust me, with me, that is a record. I lose bracelets like crazy unless they're really elastic. I lost, a diamond watch in Vegas one time. It slipped off my wrist, and luckily somebody turned it in, so I got it back. But so I really value this bracelet because it never slips off my wrist. Well, hardly ever. But I always focus on the mala beads the most. Now, these ladies have a website. Well, not a website. They have a Facebook page, and you can reach them through brooksandbailey0307@gmail or their Facebook page. Whenever they are going to be having a booth at an event, I try to repost that. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is a very worthy cause. And I have their amethyst mala beads. Why I focus on the mala beads is the Hindus and the Buddhists use it for their chants. So they move one bead at a time and do a chant and so on. There's 108 beads on this necklace and 54 on the bracelet. And I always recommend in doing affirmations that you do them 100 times a day. So this is a great way to mark to make sure you have 100, at least 100 a day, either by getting the necklace and doing it, or by using the bracelets that have 54 beads, using those twice a day. This one is amethyst. It's $60, but they have all kinds of gemstones, like $30 and up. And I think the bracelets are somewhere between $15 and $25. So just so you know. All right. I'm not sure what to tell you about our website. Both Facebook and YouTube have deleted all the videos. And so I'm trying to come up with a solution. Either I'm going to have to keep my computer. I'm not sure if I have to keep my computer on in order to have those be available by my computer. But anyway, I know it's out of date. I know it doesn't look like an active website. We're trying to work on it. We've had a few things get in the way of it in the last couple of years. So We are working on it. I want you to know that. But you can go to www.oasiscsl.org, and you can still see like photos of our picnics, so you know who your spiritual family is. Photos of other events that we've had at the church, like my ordination and Lynn's ordination, that kind of stuff. Lets you get to know who your spiritual family is. So check it out. Keep checking it out. I promise we'll be forthcoming with something eventually. In the meantime, we like to support those who support us. So Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver has a website that she sells her CDs on, and she has no way of updating it to tell you how to pay for it. She travels around the country doing her music, so she carries those around in the trunk of her car. So if you find a CD that you would like to purchase, you would then reach out to her by email, and she will let you know how to pay for it. And once it's paid for, she's really good about sending it out right away, so you will get it. She has a lot of really good stuff on there. The other one is Karen Drucker. Now, Karen Drucker's website works, so you can pay for it right then and there. You can buy it by the CD, or you can buy it by the song, a karaoke file, a songbook, which some of the songbook pages have American Sign Language in case you wanted to learn how to sign a song. But she has great music on there. Faith and I really like her Songs of Spirit series. The Songs of Spirit, and then Songs of Spirit 2, 3, and 4. But do we know what CD that really? Let me see if I can find it real quick. My Religion is Kindness. Karen Drucker. Let's see what CD that's on. Huh. It's not popping up. All right. Well, I'm sorry. You can search for the song and it'll tell you what CD it's on. But definitely, these make really good gifts. She has a lot of song CDs as well, just like the My Religion is Kindness. She's got another one, Lighten Up. There's several of them. And purchase something from these ladies. It makes a good gift for someone else or for yourself. Definitely check them out. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Oz now for the benediction.
And I know that right here, right now, God's presence is here in us, as us, and through us. And this carries out through all time and all space. So whenever you're listening to this, God's presence is also right there, right then. And I know that the blessings of God are continuously manifesting all around us in what we see and what we experience, in who we are. And that God's presence is always there. I give thanks that this is so, and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. Oh, goodness. Thank you for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we are so blessed that you're doing that here with us. Join us next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, USA time. We'll be here. We're going to continue on with the spring topics until Mother's Day. And then, of course, we're going to do our Mother's Day healing service. So definitely tune in for that. But come see us next week. We love you. Thank you for being here. Bye.